Trump cast himself as an angry and all-powerful national defender.
I alone can fix it. I will restore law and order to our country.
Trump outlining his firm approach to fighting crime and terror.
The crime and violence that today afflicts our nation will soon, and I mean very soon, come to an end.
But let's begin this morning with the breaking news overnight out of Portland, Oregon, where one person was shot and killed after a protest there. NBC's Shaquille Brewster has the latest from Kenosha, Wisconsin, where 2 people were shot and killed during protests this week. Shaq, good morning.
Good morning. 1 week after the shooting of Jacob Blake, protests here in Kenosha were large but peaceful overnight. But we're monitoring a developing situation in Portland, Oregon, where protests have been ongoing for more than 90 days. Police are investigating after a man was shot and killed after a large group of Trump supporters in a caravan of some 600 cars drove downtown and clashed with counter demonstrators. Bystanders captured the shooting on camera, and we must warn you, the video is graphic. The victim does appear to be a white man, and the Associated Press is reporting this morning that the man was wearing a hat with the insignia of a far-right group called Patriot Prayer. That's a group that has clashed with Black Lives Matter protesters in the past.
Donald Trump's federal troops haven't quelled anything. In Austin yesterday, a protester was shot dead by another member of the public.
Someone got shot!
The victim was reportedly carrying an AK-47 when he was gunned down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag!
Guns at protests are becoming more common. Foreign correspondent attended a rally at Lansing, Michigan, titled "A Well-Regulated Militia."
We're here to demand liberty!
Those in attendance are Trump voters, angry at the ongoing lawlessness across America and threatening to take matters into their own hands.
We are the law of the land!
A few days later, at a Black Lives Matter rally in Detroit, more guns and another clash of causes.
We call ourselves the Boogaloo.
The so-called Boogaloo Bois, a group of hardcore anti-government libertarians with a dark vision for the future of America.
It's unfortunate that it will turn to war, but it seems that that's the only way.
God bless America.
That may be hyperbole, but the sense of unease on the streets and the guns are real.
Now, what do you make of President Trump's visit to Kenosha and his message while he was there?
Well, I don't know if you can see it on my face, but it was really, really confusing, particularly in the segment that you just played where he's talking about in a split second, someone can lose their life. I didn't realize he wasn't talking about the victims, but he was talking about police officers. It just goes to show you that there is a disconnect in this country between what Donald Trump says the problem and solution is and what many people, including the protesters, including myself, believe that it is. Let's keep in mind that this isn't just about Kenosha, Wisconsin, or the state of Wisconsin that he narrowly won against Hillary Clinton in 2016. This is about his push to change America. He also talked about yesterday in Kenosha wanting to bring back patriotic education and not teaching kids that there's racism here in the United States. So this is a lot bigger and potentially more impactful than his missteps and miswords in Kenosha yesterday. He is showing, and not just by his words, but by his actions, that he believes that the best way to solve systemic racism in this country, which he doesn't think exists, is by pumping more money into the police. And that's not the solution, it's part of the problem. You know, Black Lives Matter is a campaign and a movement here in the United States. And what Donald Trump has shown is that Black lives don't matter as much to him in the way that he looks at police brutality and systemic racism.
After a week of protests, President Trump will visit Kenosha, Wisconsin this week, where Jacob Blake was shot multiple times by a police officer. Wake Up Charlotte's Alice Barr joining us from our nation's capital. And Alice, that incident set off demonstrations across the country.
Ben, President Trump is doubling down on his law and order message as the violence spinning off from protests is becoming a focal point in the final weeks before the election. The ensuing unrest marks a new phase in a summer of protests. In Portland, Oregon, Saturday, a man affiliated with a right-wing group was shot and killed. It came as supporters of President Trump and the Black Lives Matter movement clashed in the streets. Portland's mayor accusing the president of ratcheting up tensions.
It's you who have created the hate and the division.
The president's on the side of law enforcement and the rule of law.
In a statement, Biden accused the president of recklessly encouraging violence while condemning the violence unequivocally himself. President Trump on Twitter labeled Portland's mayor weak and pathetic while calling his own supporters who caravanned into that city great patriots.